Well, in the latest attack on you, your beliefs, and your culture, elements of the Obama administration have decided that clothes that say "Don't tread on me" could constitute racial harassment. One federal employee filing a complaint with the Equal Opportunity Commission saying he's offended by a coworker's hat with the Gadsden flag on it. He says it's racially offensive because its creator owned slaves. Now the agency is deciding if it should be considered racial harassment. Here to weigh in is the executive director of the Black Sphere and Fox News contributor, our friend Kevin Jackson. Kevin, it's great to see you this morning. So
you too, Tucker.
I'm getting older as you are. We grew up in a world where wearing a hat with a political message was considered protected speech, protected by the First Amendment in the Bill of Rights. Is that no longer operative?
Bigger than a political message, that Gadsden flag done by Christopher Gadsden, or named after General Christopher Gadsden, was formation of the 13 colonies. And what it was essentially a snake that, depicted what we thought about, the colonies and the Brits. And in fact, at one point, they talked about sending rattlesnakes over to Britain as sort of a surprise gift to the monarchy. And what's interesting now, Tucker, is that we have the snakes in our own government who have just kind of glossed over the fact that this is one of our founding documents, if you will, or founding symbols. So yet again, whether it's a Confederate flag or something else, somebody wants to destroy history. And Obama makes it appear as though it's innocuous, but it's not. They know that the Gadsden flag is a symbol of people saying we're not going to let the government take over, and it had become the symbol of the Tea Party. So it's not done just without that in mind.
So a lot of people in 18th century America owned slaves. I think it's indefensible and appalling. Obviously it is. But it was pretty common. The Prophet Muhammad owned slaves. Doesn't mean that Islam is an illegitimate religion. Doesn't mean this is an illegitimate country. This is an attack, though, by people who don't know anything about history. Isn't that kind of the core problem here? Judging people in the past by contemporary standards.
The Gadsden flag has really nothing to do with slavery. It has to do with the founding of the country that apparently, I believe, everybody has actually benefited from being an American. I know I'm proud to be born here and not to be from my ancestry in Africa, because I would be living a much different life. So it has nothing to do with that. And to your point that a lot of people own slaves, that's really kind of a misnomer. The majority of the people were not slave owners. It was a handful of people that owned slaves. You had to be an aristocrat to own slaves. But the bigger idea that the Gadsden flag represents slavery, it says, "Don't tread on me." It doesn't say, "Don't tread on me, black man." It doesn't say, "Don't tread on me, silly Negro." It just says, "Don't tread on me." And it was a warning to the government, to the British monarchy. And the Tea Party picked up the symbol because it's a "don't tread on me" federal government, which is much more egregious today than it ever was back in the past.
Well, this is obviously another attempt to ban views people the left disagrees with.
Yeah, free speech.
Amen.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Let's kill free speech.
Thank you for standing up for it. Kevin Jackson, great to see you this morning.
You too, Tucker.
Well, he was one of the speakers at the Republican National Convention.